Well, joining us now to talk about what's been a momentous week for the Ukrainian resistance is Professor of International Relations at Otago University, Robert Patman. Robert, thanks for joining us. What will Vladimir Putin be thinking right now as he sees the Ukrainian president walking around these liberated towns that were until days ago held by the Russians?
Well, I think he must be very frustrated. And he's in, for Putin, he's in uncharted territory because he's used military force on a number of occasions in the past, in Georgia, in Syria, as well as in Crimea in 2014. And each time it's gone smoothly, but this time it's not, and it's backfiring spectacularly. And this is the counteroffensive that the Ukrainians have been so successful with recently, is the second major rebuff for Mr. Putin following his invasion of Ukraine after the defeat around Kiev.
And things are getting much worse for Putin at home too, aren't they? I mean, he can't recruit enough soldiers who actually want to fight. He seems to be losing public support at home as well. Is this a turning point, do you think, for Putin's political future?
Potentially, yes. And he hasn't got too many good options facing him at the moment because he's not only lost a lot of soldiers in the war with Ukraine, he's also lost a lot of equipment. And at the moment, the Russian military don't seem to be willing to put any more troops in. He can escalate. He's got the artillery and the military, the missiles, and he's done this in the last 24 hours. But that effort's been mocked by President Zelensky as an example of what he calls the weaklings in the Kremlin. What he means by that is that the Russians have shown themselves to be inferior in battle with the Ukrainian troops, are therefore resorting to distant punishment.
And how does Ukraine retaking this territory change the outlook here in terms of the end game?
I think that although the Russians, after they suffered this big defeat in Kharkiv, the counteroffensive has reclaimed 6,000 square kilometers of territory previously occupied by the Russians. The Russians responded to that by offering peace talks, but the Ukrainians turned those quite down abruptly. And so in short, I don't think there's going to be a land for peace deal, which some Western commentators and some Russians were hoping for. I think that's off the table now. The Ukrainians sense they've got the military momentum. The Russian army seems to be in disarray, and I think they're going to exert more pressure. And they've got a good bargaining lever now with the Western countries that have been backing them. They've demonstrated they can use the Western support effectively. So I think the diplomatic solution in the short term is off, which means that Mr. Putin could be in a grim endgame where he has to preside over the ejection of his troops from Ukraine.
So interesting, Robert Patman. Thank you so much for your insight. Tēnā koe.
Thank you.